Hello, my name is Dylan, but you can call me Buttercup. Welcome to Buttercup Yarn Art, a soft-spoken video journal where I play with yarn and share my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. If there's anything you'd like to hear me talk about, please leave a comment to let me know. The pattern I am working on today is the Thunderclap Shawl by Emily Wood. It's back! Which, I'm sure you can guess, means that my sorrel is done. I posted a picture of it on my Instagram, which is always linked in the description. And I detailed the process that I went through to finish it in my last video. The bind off the second time took about 4 hours, and bind off for the body, I should clarify. And for the sleeves, each one individually only took about 4 hours from beginning to end. And I am more than a little bit frustrated with that. The bind off for the body took just as long as beginning to end fixing the sleeves. But my sorrel is done. I am very happy with it, and I am really looking forward to making some progress on my queue. My queue of projects is quite long. I have been strongly resisting the urge to add more projects to it because there are already so many, including this one. But I have a couple coming up basically next that I'm very excited about. The very first thing that I'll be doing once the Thunderclap shawl is finished is the Perfectly Chic Tote by Fallon McNaughton, which will be linked in the description. I'm going to be making that out of the blank that I dyed to test how the tie-dye would work for my flax sweater. I'm still working on ripping that out, but once that's all unraveled, I'm going to make that tote, and I'll have plenty of yarn left over that I don't quite know what I'm going to do with yet, but there will be plenty of it left. That one is a crochet project, and it's probably going to be pretty quick. I don't know if it'll even take long enough for me to be working on it in a video, but maybe it will. I hope so. It'll be interesting to get some crocheting on here. My cat Morgan is grabbing a snack. So that one I'm mainly doing because I want to have something to do with that yarn. I don't want to just leave it as a blank. I want to make something with it. And that's what I landed on. The next two after that I am very excited about. And there's a bit of a story behind them. So I have this pattern book, and all of the patterns look just gorgeous. They're so beautiful. But I have made two projects from it. One was a shawl that I made a lot of mistakes on. That was my fault. The other was a sweater for my mom. The sweater was supposed to be a normal cardigan down to her hips. Nothing unusual about it. Now, my mom and I wear plus sizes, so I was making her one of the larger sizes, and we're also both rather short. The pattern, it turns out, was graded just as much for the length of it as it was for the width, so it came out a duster. Now, I wasn't expecting it to land perfectly at her hips, but I also wasn't expecting it to be all the way down to her knees either. So, that was a bit of a disappointment, but I was planning to make another pattern from that book for myself, another sweater. And this book has multiple designers working on it. It's adaptations of historical knitting patterns, essentially. And there's a sweater in that book that I really like the look of, and I was going to make it for myself. I got a bunch of Hemp for Knitters All Hemp 6 in black to make it for myself because I really liked it. And, I got enough plus a bit extra because I like to have that security. And I kept putting it off, and putting it off, and putting it off, and putting it off. And, it was coming up next, and I kind of found myself looking for ways to put it off again. And that is when I finally kind of decided, okay, I don't actually want to do this. I keep avoiding it. I keep putting it off. I don't want to do this. So, I decided to change my plans. And I think I made a good decision there because it turns out I'm going to be able to make 2 sweaters out of the yarn that I got for this one sweater. There was that much recommended for this sweater. The first sweater that I'm going to make from this yarn, in which I'm both excited about and a little terrified of, is All of the Lights by Joji Locatelli. Now, I've never knit any of Joji's patterns before, and this probably isn't the first one I should do, but I am really excited to do it. I really like the pattern, and I think it's going to look really nice in this black yarn. The construction for this pattern is really, really interesting, that I haven't seen before. I'm sure there are other patterns that have, at the very least, a similar construction. I have not come across them. And that's part of what I'm terrified about, because it is such an interesting construction. I don't want to mess it up, but I've read through the pattern. The instructions are very clear, and I am confident in my ability. So hopefully I won't mess it up. I might cry if I do, but I should be able to, at the very least, figure it out. But I'm very excited. It is partially a lace pattern, which I've talked before about how I don't really like lace. I don't really like knitting lace, but it's combined with cables, which I actually really enjoy. And it's a cardigan rather than a pullover, which kind of alleviates a lot of my issues with lace. You know, I don't want big holes showing my skin as much. And it'll, you know, it's a cardigan, so it's not the only layer against my skin. And, you know, maybe I'll like this lace. I say that every time. I say that every time I do lace, and then I wind up not. But maybe this time it'll be true. And the other pattern that I'm going to be making from this yarn that I got for one sweater that's going to be two is called Abellio, Abellio, from Meiju KP. I will put a link to that pattern as well as to all of the lights in the description as well, and I'm sorry if I butchered that name. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But it is an all-over cable raglan sweater pullover, and I'm really excited about it. I'm actually going to wind up knitting two of it. One from the black All Hemp 6, and another one from some Pima cotton, some burgundy Pima cotton that I got specifically for it because I really like oversized burgundy sweaters, especially cable knit. And I've also read through the pattern and it seems clear enough, and I'm really looking forward to it. I found this pattern by basically looking for cable knit sweater patterns that fit a vibe that I had in my head. And this one, it wasn't the first one that met the vibe, but it was the first one that met the vibe that was available in my size. The first several that met the vibe were all exclusively children's size sweaters, which vaguely infuriated me because I wanted to knit them for myself without having to basically rewrite the pattern to make it work for an adult. But this one did the vibe and is available in a size that I can wear. It's actually available in sizes bigger than me, which is always a plus. Pun intended. Because I'm plus size. I don't know if that was a good joke. I think it was good. But for both the black one and the burgundy one, I'm planning to make the biggest size just so it can be comfortably oversized. And again, I have enough yarn for that. Have enough yarn to make the biggest size of Abellio and all of the lights with a few hundred yards left over if I use the exact yardage amount listed in the patterns. That's how much yarn that first sweater called for. that's a little bit insane to me. It's a little bit ridiculous. And, the more I think about it, the more glad I am that I wound up deciding not to make that first sweater. Because I think it would have been some really, really wonky proportions. Definitely something funky going on with the patterns in that book. I'm not naming the book, but it probably wouldn't be too hard to figure it out. But it just... I was really excited about that book when I got it. But now I'm just disappointed in how the larger patterns seem to be scaled, the larger sizes for patterns. But I'll move on, I'll learn from it, and I'll be a better knitter for it. So that is everything I wanted to talk about. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.